There's a liquid sitting in your kitchen right now that kills every weed on contact, roots, and all within 24 hours. No regrowth for months after a single application. It works on crabgrass, dandelions, thistle, nutsedge, and every invasive species destroying American lawns and gardens right now. The bottle costs $2 at any grocery store. Farmers in rural America used it for over a century before a single chemical herbicide ever existed. University researchers confirmed it outperforms Roundup on broadleaf weeds in controlled field trials. Then a $100 billion industry decided something. They decided that you should absolutely never learn its name. They did not remove it from public knowledge because it damaged soil or poisoned groundwater. They removed it because it worked. A $2 liquid that permanently eliminates every weed in your yard cannot be sold back to you in a branded bottle for $40. And what cannot generate quarterly revenue must be buried from public memory completely. This is the story of the cheapest weed killer ever discovered. And the two massive industries so terrified right now that you might find and share this video. This is where we crack open every vault that the agriculture industry desperately locks shut. If these stories truly matter to you, hit subscribe and ring the bell to never miss a single vault we open. In 1971, a researcher at the University of Georgia walked into a field trial that was supposed to take 3 weeks and wrapped up in 4 days. She had applied a diluted acetic acid solution to a test plot of mixed broadleaf weeds and grasses. By day 2, the broadleaf weeds were wilting. By day 4, the entire test section was cleared. Not slowed down, not yellowed and struggling, dead. She documented the results, filed her findings with the University Agriculture Department, and waited for the industry to respond. The response never came. Not a single major agricultural chemical company requested her data. Not one herbicide manufacturer reached out to fund further research. Her findings sat in a university archive for over a decade without a single citation from the commercial agriculture sector. That liquid was white distilled vinegar, the same bottle your grandmother kept under the kitchen sink for cleaning and cooking. 5% acetic acid, water, and nothing else. And it had just outperformed synthetic herbicides in a controlled university field trial without a single dollar of industry funding behind it. But the University of Georgia researcher was not the first person who knew this, not even close. Go back to 3000 BC in ancient Mesopotamia, in the fertile river valleys between the Tigris and Euphrates. Sumerian farmers maintaining the earliest organized agricultural fields in recorded human history were dealing with the exact same problem every American homeowner faces today. Invasive weeds competing with crops for water, nutrients, and sunlight. They poured fermented grape vinegar along field boundaries and between crop rows to clear unwanted growth. Clay tablets from the Ur III period, among the oldest agricultural records ever excavated, describe acidic solutions applied to soil for weed suppression. These were not guesses or folk remedies. These were documented farming protocols passed between generations of agricultural workers across thousands of years of practice. In ancient Rome, military engineers responsible for maintaining campaign roads used concentrated vinegar solutions to prevent vegetation from cracking stone surfaces and destabilizing road foundations. Roman agricultural manuals, including those written by Marcus Porcius Cato in the 2nd century BC, describe acetic acid applications for managing unwanted plant growth around olive groves and vineyard rows. The Roman army carried amphorae of concentrated vinegar on every extended campaign, not just for food preservation and wound treatment, but for maintaining the cleared ground around military encampments that provided defensive sight lines. In medieval England, monastery records from the 12th and 13th centuries document repeated vinegar applications along garden walls and stone pathways. These records survive in archives at Canterbury and Winchester, describing the same basic principle Roman engineers had used 1,000 years earlier. Concentrated acid applied directly to plant tissue destroys cellular structure faster than the plant can repair it. The weed dies from the outside in, and the acidic soil environment left behind discourages immediate regrowth. For 5,000 years, every agricultural civilization that fermented grain or fruit independently discovered the same thing. Acid kills weeds. The cheapest acid available is vinegar. The solution costs almost nothing, and it works. Now let me show you the science that makes the $100 billion herbicide industry deeply uncomfortable about this video. The mechanism behind acetic acid weed control is not complicated. It is actually one of the most elegant examples of contact chemistry in all of plant biology. When a solution of 5% or higher acetic acid contacts plant tissue, it immediately begins breaking down the waxy cuticle layer that covers every leaf and stem surface. That cuticle is the plant's primary defense against moisture loss and environmental stress. The moment acetic acid penetrates it, the plant begins losing water through every damaged cell wall simultaneously. This process is called desiccation, and it happens fast. A study published by the United States Department of Agriculture Agricultural Research Service in 2002 tested acetic acid solutions at concentrations between 5 and 20% against 14 common weed species. At 5% concentration, the standard grocery store vinegar strength, mortality rates for young broadleaf weeds reached 85 to 100% within 24 hours. At 10% concentration, even established perennial weeds with deep root systems showed mortality rates above 70% after a single application. At 20% concentration, which is available as horticultural vinegar from garden suppliers, the study recorded complete kill rates across every tested species, including the notoriously resistant Canada thistle. The USDA researchers noted specifically that acetic acid performed comparably to glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, on annual broadleaf weeds. On some species, it outperformed glyphosate on first application speed of kill. A follow-up study from Cornell University, published in 2003, confirmed these results and added a critical data point the herbicide industry found particularly threatening. Acetic acid leaves no soil residue. Glyphosate and many other synthetic herbicides bind to soil particles and remain detectable for months or years after application. Acetic acid breaks down completely within 48 hours of soil contact. The same area where you spray vinegar today can be safely planted within 2 days. The same area where you apply Roundup carries detectable chemical residue for up to 174 days, according to EPA soil persistence data. A peer-reviewed paper published in the journal Weed Technology in 2014 measured the cost differential between acetic acid treatment and standard synthetic herbicide programs across a full growing season for a half-acre residential garden plot. Synthetic herbicide program cost for the season came to $127 in product plus application labor. Acetic acid treatment program using standard grocery vinegar cost $11 total for the same area over the same period. The National Organic Program administered by the USDA has approved acetic acid as a certified organic herbicide since 2002. Certified organic farms across the United States use it legally, openly, and effectively. The data on its performance has been publicly available in USDA archives for over 20 years. And yet, if you walk into any Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart garden center in America today, you will find 0 products on the shelf that list acetic acid as their primary active weed-killing ingredient. 0. If you have made it this far, you already know more about weed control than 99% of homeowners spending $40 every summer on branded bottles. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs to remember what the industry made us forget. Now stay with me. This next part is the one they truly do not want you to hear. The global herbicide market generates over $33 billion in annual revenue. Glyphosate alone, the active ingredient in Roundup, accounts for over $8 billion of that total every single ICAR. Bayer, which acquired Monsanto and its Roundup product line for $63 billion in 2018, has a direct financial interest in ensuring that every American homeowner believes chemical herbicides are the only effective option available. The seed industry adds another layer to this architecture of dependence. Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta, and BASF together control over 60% of the global commercial seed market. A significant portion of their revenue comes from selling herbicide-resistant crop varieties, specifically engineered to survive Roundup applications that kill everything else. If farmers switched to acetic acid and other natural herbicide programs, the entire genetically modified herbicide-resistant seed business model collapses with it. That is not a $33 billion threat. That is a combined $100 billion threat across seeds and chemicals simultaneously. You cannot patent acetic acid. It has existed since the first fermentation reaction occurred in nature billions of years ago. You cannot create a proprietary white vinegar formula that competitors cannot replicate for $2 at any grocery store. The entire genetic modification and chemical dependency model of modern industrial agriculture depends on synthetic herbicides. Specifically, vinegar breaks that dependency completely. So the industry did what every industry does when a cheap solution threatens expensive revenue. They funded university research programs that compared acetic acid only against glyphosate at optimal glyphosate conditions. They lobbied the EPA to classify high concentration acetic acid as a regulated pesticide, requiring licensing for commercial application. They ensured that agricultural extension programs at land-grant universities stopped including acetic acid in their integrated weed management curricula by the 1990s. And they made absolutely sure that retail shelf space in every garden center in America remained filled exclusively with their branded chemical products. The suppression was not dramatic, it was systematic, and it worked for 40 years. Here is exactly what you do starting today. And the ratio matters, so pay close attention. For young annual weeds, dandelions in their first season, crabgrass, chickweed, and clover, standard, 5% white distilled vinegar applied undiluted directly to leaf surfaces. On a sunny, dry day, delivers 80 to 100% kill within 24 hours. Buy the gallon jug at any grocery store for $2 to $3. Pour it into a spray bottle and apply it on a day with no rain forecast for at least 24 hours. Sunlight accelerates the desiccation process significantly. Cloudy day applications still work but take 36 to 48 hours. For ASEA-established perennial weeds with deep root systems, thistle, bindweed, and nut CDGC, mix 1 gallon of white vinegar with 1 cup of Tabic salt and 1 tablespoon of liquid dish soap. The salt draws additional moisture out of root tissue after the vinegar breaks down the cuticle layer. The dish soap acts as a surfactant that helps the solution penetrate waxy leaf coatings more effectively. Apply directly to weed foliage, avoiding desirable plants. Acetic acid does not discriminate between weeds and garden plants. It kills what it touches. Targeted application with a squeeze bottle or foam brush works better than broadcast spraying near flower beds or vegetable gardens. For driveway cracks, patio joints, and fence lines where you want permanent bare ground, apply the salt and vinegar mixture directly to soil after clearing surface weeds. The residual salt concentration discourages regrowth for an extended period. A retired schoolteacher in rural Kentucky documented her transition from a 140 annual Roundup program to a full vinegar and salt treatment across her 2-acre property in 2021. Her total material cost for the first season was $823. Her weed coverage at end of season was lower than her final year of synthetic herbicide use. She estimated saving over $110 in the first year alone and described her soil as visibly healthier by midsummer. I need to be honest with you about the real limitations here. Acetic acid is a contact herbicide. It kills what it touches above ground, but does not travel systemically through plant tissue the way glyphosate does. For deeply established perennial weeds with extensive root networks, multiple applications across one scazen may be required to fully exhaust the root system. These limitations are real and manageable. Multiple applications of a $2 solution still cost far less than 1 season of synthetic herbicide use. The difference is that no one profits from telling you that. The Sumerians cleared their fields with fermented acid 5,000 years ago. Roman engineers maintained their roads with vinegar 2,000 years before the first chemical company opened its doors. American farmers used it routinely through the 19th century before synthetic herbicides arrived to replace their common sense with corporate dependency. Your great-grandparents knew this. They kept a jug under the sink and used it in the garden every spring without calling a chemical company or reading a warning label. For 100 years, this passed through families at zero cost. Then 50 years of advertising convinced an entire generation that the bottle under the sink was for cooking, not for the $40 problem growing in the driveway. The vinegar is still there. The science confirming it works has been in USDA archives since 2002. The Sumerians left instructions on clay tablets that outlasted every herbicide brand ever created. A $33 billion industry needs you to keep forgetting all 3 of those facts at once. You just remembered them. If this vault opened something for you today, subscribe and share this video. Every share puts a 2 solution in the hands of someone still paying $40 for a problem their grandmother solved with a kitchen bottle. Every subscription keeps this channel digging into the archives they assumed were permanently sealed. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside, that one goes even deeper.